Hello everyone.
Welcome to the Spirit Lounge podcast with me, David.
And me, Glenda.
And we are psychic mediums from both sides of the pond.
I'm in Australia.
And I'm in the UK.
And we're joining forces to discuss and talk about the world of psychics, mediumship, and all things spiritual. We might even throw some random life topics in there too.
So come with us now on our podcast journey. Let's see what's happening in the Spirit Lounge for today's episode. Hello listeners and welcome back to the Spirit Lounge. I'm here as always with Glenda. Hello Glenda.
Hi David, how are you? Hello listeners. David's eyelashes are tweaking like you wouldn't believe. You're either tired or wired.
It could be either. I don't know. I don't know at this point. I'm very exhausted after the weekend that I've had, which we'll get into in a moment. But how are you, Glenda? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm tired too, and it's Monday.
I know, isn't it? That's awful, isn't it? It must be an
God
age
help
thing.
us.
And you're about 20 years older than me. No, I'm only kidding. You're not really.
You biatch.
I'm only 21. I wished. Right. So, listeners, today in the Spirit Lounge, join Glenda and I just for a chat because we're going to talk about recent events that we've been doing, and hopefully by talking about them, it's going to help some of you guys who are also, starting to do events or you're starting out on your journey. So just going to have a chat about a few things, and we're going to bring things like the nerves with mediumship into this conversation as well, and what our thoughts are about the nerves. Can you ever get rid of the nerves in mediumship, especially when you're doing platform demonstrations like we've been very busy with this weekend? So we're going to talk about that, and hopefully you'll get something from it. So, Glenda, I know you've had, do I call it would you agree on a transformative weekend? Does that make sense? Or at least a learning weekend
Yeah,
for you?
yeah. I think it's I guess it's transformative.
So tell us
Doing
about
the
it.
dems.
Let the customers, let the listeners. See, I've lost the plot. Let the listeners know what you were doing this weekend.
Right, so I had my A Moment with Spirit event, which is um a guided meditation where I would guide everyone down to that place of meeting their loved ones. And because we're so busy, we don't get time to stop. Some of us don't switch off. Some of us, we have so many clients that say to us, I can't feel my loved one. I don't get messages. It's because we're so busy and we
Yeah.
just keep going. We don't
Mm,
surrender to that moment to allow spirit to come close, other than when we're sleeping and they come into our dreams.
yeah.
So having people not just putting on music and leaving them there. It was just actually guiding them through the garden. And, it was just really, really gentle and giving them time and space with their loved ones, whether it's just to get a word, a message, a feeling, a scent, anything. And then when they come up, I give them, some questions to fill in, just to kind of trigger those thoughts. Oh yeah, I got that, I got that, and they fill that in. And this time around, I actually got them to fill in a little. It was just a tiny little form that was the intention they wanted to set for the night. And then I said to them, I just want you to feel it an intention, whether it's just to have peace for, for this time, or whether you want to meet someone, your loved one on spirit, or whether it's part of healing. Just write that down and I'll collect them at the end of the night. But I want you to write yes or no on the back of them, whether or not your intention was fulfilled. And it was so beautiful to get those back at the end of the night, because people
Mm,
don't give you reviews. People don't give you, you should do this or you should change that. So it allows me to structure my next event to more of that, what people are looking for. But yeah, and I got those back, and the messages on them were just so heartwarming and just touched my soul, someone wanted, to get a message from their husband, and, wrote on the back, yes, that was achieved, the intention, and all those sort of things. So that was really good. And then, guide them through the meditation. And while they're in that meditation, I do sound healing as well. And, we do energy healing over them as well. And Miranda was giving everybody a head massage because she's finished her studies and course in Lomi Lomi massage. So she gave everyone a head massage. And then I did an hour and a half of mediumship connections. And this time around, it was massive because everybody that came and last time gets a message from a loved one. And that's a massive expectation to put on myself. I
Yes,
usually
yeah.
just give myself an hour, but this time I said an hour, hour and a half. And I like to keep the group small so
Yeah.
it's intimate and so that everyone does get a message. Plus, they get a channeled message, a psychic message from me to take home with a beautiful gift that I make up for them. So it's a lot of work for me to do for that 2.5 hours. But this time around, it was so emotional, David. And me, I'm kind of new on stepping out and doing demonstrations and putting myself out there. And it's a massive learning curve. And
Absolutely.
not and I think it just depends on who's coming, the need, I had some really um vulnerable people, if I can say vulnerable, because they were so heavy in their grief and really desperate to hear from their loved one. I'm guessing, not guessing, but I know a few of them were quite recent and things like that. So you've got all those expectations on you.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't know how people don't get nervous. Like I had the butterflies and the oh shit, I hope I can freaking do this.
yeah,
Like, oh
yeah.
my
Imposter
God.
syndrome.
Yeah, it's like, oh fuck, can I do this? And then it's like, oh, I want to make sure that everyone gets a reading because, everyone's paid for it. And I go into that, putting that extra pressure on myself. And because I didn't want to do this dem a week before that. I only had 4 people book and I was just going to call it quits. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it because it's a lot of time and effort that goes
Yeah,
into the setup and our energy and all that sort of stuff. And then my husband said to me, just give it over the weekend, just put out a call out. And I'd paid for advertising, nothing, nothing. And then I got I got a whole heap of bookings right at the end. And I was like, oh, I just wish people would book earlier because it limits me that time to get
yeah,
ready for the channeled messages.
yeah,
So the stress of the bookings, I'm sure that other people feel the stress of this. It feels like you're almost whoring yourself out on social
yeah,
media, posting,
yeah,
posting. It's like, post, come to my event, come to my event, come to my event. But people don't understand. You have to pay for the hall hire. You have to pay for all this up front and then hope that people turn up
yeah.
or you lose your deposit or you lose, you know what I mean? We've got a time limit. So it's not just that, oh, they just put that event up. There's so much effort and emotions and energy that goes on behind the scenes that we
Mm,
have to do.
yeah,
We don't have anyone to do our social media or all our promotional stuff. It falls back on us to do everything. So um, it's a lot to take on. And I can understand why you're hesitant on booking a hall or a place when what'd you get at one event this week? 14?
yeah. And I think that's one of the things I realised this week, and so I'm not going to book my own events for now
No.
because as much as I enjoyed it, it's how can I say it? So I just explain to people what I did this week. So this weekend was the first time that I've been so that this busy with my mediumship. I had 4 back-to-back events, and they were all different parts of the country. So I was in Watford Way on that. This is going to mean nothing to people listening in Australia, but I was, let's say, 40 minutes away from my house on the Thursday. nearly 3 hours away from my house on the Friday,
Gee.
50 minutes away from my house on Saturday, and then an hour and 50 minutes away from my house on the Sunday, all in different directions.
That's a lot of traveling, David.
And there's a lot of travel, and I'm very tired today. And I thought I was gonna have a day off, but I've been called into work, so that's a whole other story. I won't go into that. Um, and drive all that way, and this is nothing to know necessarily to do with the ladies that organise these events, because they work very hard to
Yeah.
organise these psychic nights and things like that. But to have only 14 people show up on the Thursday, 13 people to show up on the Friday, where I've driven, 224-mile round trip,
Right.
um, and then 19 people paying people on the Saturday. And the Sunday was just a church service. That was just a normal Sunday service. But those other three events were special events which were ticketed. And look, it's the messages were on point, without blowing smoke up my arse. The evidence was amazing. And I certainly learned a few things that weekend as well. So I'm not downplaying it, or trying to degrade myself or degrade the weekend, if that's the right term to use, because I'd learned a lot of lessons there. But I think to myself, if I maybe people are going to say, David, shut up, stop doubting yourself, whatever. If I can't, sell tickets for events that other people have also been advertising, then I'm not going to sell tickets by doing it myself. And so I've got to say, I'm but very honest, that I did have a go at my spirit team,
Yeah.
and I look back at it now, and I said to them, I did throw my toys at the pram a little bit, but it was through frustration, because when you are, and don't have to keep come back to the money, doesn't it? When you are a self-employed person, and you don't have a guaranteed wage every month, whatever, in
Yeah.
your head you have a fixed number of people who you expect to turn up. Because if I look at the last time I did those first two events, the one Thursday that I did last time I was there, I had maybe 30 people. This time I had half. The event I did on the Friday night in, right down south, the last time I did that, I was almost sold out, 60 odd people. To now have 13 people
Yeah.
show up. And
Yeah.
I know both the ladies said, "Look, it's not you," but I felt in my head I was like, no, it must be me, because I know that the previous events you've done with other mediums, people have shown up. So then you have to kind of battle with yourself and go, well, I'm trying not to take it personally. Um, I mean, look, there could be a wide range of reasons why people, didn't show up. Whether it be, the lady on the Friday said to me, the last couple of times we've been here, it's been quite quiet because people have complained about the venue. So I think, well, maybe that's it, but I don't know. It's hard not to take it personally. So I said to Spirit, if you want me to do this without, um, me bankrupting myself or whatever, it said you've got to change this. I'm not gonna. And I made my decision there and then that I'm not traveling those distances for special events, for ticketed events,
Yeah.
unless there's a
I don't
guarantee,
blame you.
unless there's some kind of guarantee that people are going to show up. 'Cause it's not, it sounds bad that it's not worth my time, because again I had a lovely time, and they're lovely venues to work at, in my opinion. But you also have to look at the energy you're giving it, the travel time you're giving it, and all that kind of stuff. And so at the moment I will continue doing, churches and things like that, but at special events at churches, because then they do all the advertising, and they then get their local people to their churches, so it's easier to fill. But when it's a
Mm.
special event outside of that, where you don't necessarily have, um, loyalty is not the right word, but when you don't have your returning customers, that it could be quite transient, then those ones are more difficult to fill unless you're known in the area. And because I don't put myself out there every 5 minutes, I'm not this medium who's out there. We know who they are, but I'm not out there everywhere doing every fucking church every week, here, there, da da da, and then being trying to be the savior for spiritualism, because that's not me. Um, then I don't necessarily get seen. But I'd rather be authentic and be myself and do the mediumship properly and keep my integrity about me and go to the places where I need to go rather than be the person that's maybe not doing it right and is all over the place. That venue, that venue,
Yes.
that venue, that church, that church. That's not. Again, it's the travel time as well, and I've got another job, and I've got that painting job that I enjoy, but I have to do to pay the bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you've got to get that balance. So this weekend was a busy one. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Before I even did the first one, I said to myself, "Why have I agreed to do 4 back-to-back dems
Yeah.
this week?"
You
I
haven't
don't know
even.
why. I don't know why. I've not had a break. I've not had a rest between.
No,
It's
you've not
just
given
been
not
go,
given a
go, go,
day.
go, go. And normally I would do one or two max, have a day off, and then do some more. But I don't know why. It's just. I guess if we talk about our last conversation or reference our last conversation about manifesting and things being what they need to be, I've if I reflect on this weekend properly, and it's probably too much to go into here, it it was a lesson, but in a good way. So as much as I didn't have many people for the events, I certainly learned what I could do,
Yeah.
and I could still, as tired as I was, I could still do it. And my mediumship changed this weekend. And so it showed me that actually I needed to do this because I can see that I can keep my energy for those four events, but also I can do things in a different way. And the further I got round, so when I got on Thursday, I was so nervous. I don't know why that was. Maybe it's because not a lot of people showed up. I don't know. But for the Thursday one, I was very, very nervous. But as the Saturday came round, I became less and less nervous and relaxed more into it. And I think that was also a lesson there as well, to show that I don't need to be as nervous because I've got it.
Nervous.
If I can do those 4 in a row with the evidence that I had, I haven't got to worry. So I think
Exactly.
that was a big lesson.
It is a big lesson. I had like the little um butterflies in the belly. I wasn't as nervous as I was kind of going in the first one, but I've done a lot of work again since my last dem. I did a lot of work on myself through my, regressions and things like that, that I've kind of gone, okay, I'm not going to be as nervous. Um, but going there and you're still going to go, okay, I hope this works. And I said it to everyone, okay, guys, like, let's just hope it works because I can't guarantee it. But oh my God, like it works all the time. Why do we doubt it? Why do we get so nervous? And like you say, just got to get through that first one and it's just rolling. It's just rolling after that. But I'm the same. My mediumship just leveled up big time. I was tested. It was almost like spirit's gone, right, we're going to give you all of this, but we're going to throw this little whammy in there to test you to see how you handle it.
Mm,
Because, as we discussed, yeah, both of us, we just bring forward the spirit person and then we don't go direct. But this time round, I was doing both. I was like bringing it up, going direct, and then when that second last one that swamped me, that I was going direct, and I'm like, um, this ain't working. But and then I'm just like, okay, well, I'll go and switch it up again and just go, well, who do you want to, who do you want to hear from? Rather
mm,
than just looking at the person. Usually you can look at the person and you can go direct in that way. I actually asked her, who did you want to hear from? Because I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. She was so closed off. But Spirit taught me, don't panic. Take a moment, center yourself, and take a breath, and it'll come. And it freaking did. And it did. And I surprised myself. And at the end, I'm just going, holy shit. Like, I can't believe it. But the the evidence was next level for me. Like I said, I'm surprised myself. And after it to sit there and just take a moment when everyone had gone and I'm sitting in that room by myself to sit there and go, I'm a medium.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise, I'm a medium. I'm actually doing this. I think I still go to myself, I can't believe I'm doing this. And is that being stupid? Is that being
No,
naive?
it took me a long time. I still now I think, oh, I'm really doing it. But no,
Yeah.
in the even in the first 3 years of my journey, I found it strange calling myself a medium because someone said to me, David, it's okay to put a title on yourself. To say to people, no, I'm a psychic or I'm a medium, and this is what I do. But I found it really hard to do it. I don't. It's just I don't know because I think it's not the norm, is it? It's not the usual thing that people would do. It's talking to dead
No.
people for a living. So I think it's a bit strange in that sense. But so I know what you mean. But I know it is believing in yourself, and I think because the
Mm.
work we do is not what I would say. Uh, how do I say it? It's not
No.
guaranteed, as
Yeah.
in when you stand there, there's no because it's not scripted. We don't read from a script. It's almost like an ad hoc thing. But it's like we stand there, we never know what's going to come out of our mouth, if anything at all. Whereas if you are I don't know, if you're a hairdresser, you know how to cut hair. You know by the end of
Yeah.
that session with your client, they're going to leave with a haircut. But with mediumship, there isn't that guarantee. You can have a client
No.
walk in and you don't know how they're going to walk out, whether you're going to be able to give
Yeah.
them a. So it's not. That's what I mean by it's not a guaranteed thing. We can't guarantee what's going to happen. Whereas if for any
That's
other job that
right.
you do, you know what you're doing, you know what your skill is, you know what the outcome needs to be because you put the work in and you've got a list of jobs to do that day, so you get them all done. That's not that with this, and that's why I think there's always that doubt, isn't there?
Yeah. Because
Because
they're
it's
complete
not.
strangers. They're
Yeah, it's
strangers. We're,
yeah,
we're not stood there with people sitting in the chair with their hair color. Right. I need to get 5.3 hair color for this blonde, if she wants it this. They already know. With us, we're standing there going, okay, who's coming through? What am I feeling? What am I sensing? Who have I got? Male, female? You know what I mean? You're going through that, what's coming first. And you're hoping that it just works. You're hoping that you
yeah.
can connect to that person, that you can read their energy, that all of that. You've got a complete stranger you've never met before in a crowd of people.
But
And
also we're a stranger to the spirit person. They don't know
that's
who we are,
right.
and we don't know who they are. So we've got two strangers
No.
that we're dealing with.
That's right. And then, when if they were non-believers, they're not going to be coming up to, or if they were people that were distant, kept people at arm's length, they're going to be like that with us when we're like, okay, we want to talk to you now. Well, why the fuck should I talk to you? I don't even know you. That's what spirit's going to be thinking. Oh, I've got to work out if I trust you first. Let me
Yeah,
see how you're working. You know what I mean? And we've got to be able, they've got to work in with us in the way that we work. So again, you just got to trust and surrender to whatever happens. But it still blows my mind how it works. It still surprises me. And I still get the aha moments that, oh my God, I cannot believe that moment because it's not normal. It's not
yeah,
normal
yeah.
when you think about it. And um, and I guess that's why we get nervous because it's not something that we can just guarantee that's going to happen. We stand there and we kind of like hope for the best. We do, we
Absolutely.
hope for the best. We hope for the best and stand there going, okay, how many people do I have to refund?
There's a couple of things there I want to touch on. So the first thing to talk about is nerves, which we've I think we've spoken about before. Can't remember.
Hmm.
Um, n- what I don't know how what way do I say it first? When it comes to nerves, I think nerves are a good thing, and not just in this work, but any work that any new thing that you do, anything you're passionate about. I feel that you are going to have nerves behind it because it's if you care about what you're doing, there is going to be that nervousness, but there's also that nerves behind what we've just said that it's not guaranteed, and we want to give our best to people, and we don't want to look stupid. I mean, you could say that's the ego, yeah, but I don't think that's a negative part of the ego. I think not wanting to look stupid is the same in any new job that you do. When you do your job, when you go, whether you go to work, whether you work in an office or a hair salon or a doctor's surgery, wherever it might be, you want to give your best to people. So I think that's a good part of the ego because that keeps you in check. Um, and people ask me, they probably ask you as well. No, when we do this work, will the nerves ever go? And I I don't know. It depends on your natural character and personality. I think for many people, nerves will always be a part of this work, again, because it's not guaranteed, because when you stand on a platform, you don't know what's going to come out your mouth, what's going to happen, but also you've got loads of people looking at you. So if you're not naturally a stage person, if you like, or wants to be at the center of attention, then it does feel a little bit uncomfortable, and so the nerves are going to come with that. But what really irritates me is when people say, "Oh, if you're not nervous, it means you don't care." And I want to say, no, I won't say what I want to say. I want to say, go away. Because what I'm realizing is how nerves affect me and what impact nerves have on people. Now, from my perspective, I feel that nerves, although people say they're a good thing, I feel that they're actually a low vibrational energy because what nerves do, nerves are a blocker to us. And because of the way this mediumship works, it's through the mind. Nerves affect the mind. So if your mind is affected with those nerves, they act as a blocker to your mediumship. So the more nervous you are, the more blocked you are from spirit because you're too busy in your head thinking about what if this goes wrong, what if I can't do this, what if I can't do that. That doesn't give spirit the room to fill your mind, your consciousness with their messages for you to get them out. So as much as nerves can be good things, if I'm nervous, what I try and do is turn them into excited nerves rather than want to throw up, vomit, shit myself nerves, right? So I try and change the energy and turn them into something positive. Because I know when I'm excited, my dems are 100% better. If I'm really nervous, they're still good, but they're not as good as they would be if I was out of my head. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if I'll ever get rid of the nerves completely, but even if I do, and we've spoken to some mediums on this podcast, and some of them I know personally, they do not get nervous before a dem. Now, people might look at that and go, well, that's really arrogant, and you should be nervous. If you're not nervous, you'd come back to if you're not nervous, you don't care. Well, I think that's nonsense because if you're doing this job full time, and it is your life, it is your job, it's your passion, you should be able to go into it not feeling nervous. It doesn't mean that you don't care. It just means that you are comfortable and you are aligned with the job that you're doing. Because let's face it, who listening to this goes into work feeling nervous every day? You shouldn't. If you are feeling
Mm.
nervous going into work every day, you shouldn't be there. You should be able to go
Mm.
into your job knowing what you're doing and feeling confident. Like today, I'm going to have a good day, but you should be nervous about it unless someone's bullying you or something horrendous like that. That should not be the case. And it's the same with mediumship. We should be able to go to a dem or a reading or whatever, not feeling nervous. We should go in feeling confident. That should be the way. And it's not because we're arrogant. It's arrogant if you go into it going, well, I'm the dog's bollocks and I'm the best and I'm always going to get everything right. That is negative. That's arrogance. But if you're going into it going, right, I trust spirit, I trust myself, we're going to have a good night tonight, therefore I'm not nervous. That's not arrogance. That's for me, it's perfectly normal. Because
Yeah.
what isn't normal is if you're doing this job like full time, 5 days a week, and you are always nervous, I don't think that's very healthy anyway. Because if, like me, the nerves affect your stomach, I don't think shitting through the eye of a needle 5 days a week is a very healthy thing to you. So, so I think you've got to get to a point where you go, no, I'm actually okay with this. Because I don't think the other way is healthy. So I think, when people say, oh, nerves mean you care. No, it does. I agree with that. But if you don't feel nerves, doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you're comfortable and again and aligned in what you're doing. And I think that's the first
Yeah,
important thing I want to say there.
absolutely. I agree. Um, but again, it's nerves and excitement put together because
Yeah.
it's an event and you've been planning for this and you've been wanting this, you've been manifesting this. There's that word, David. You've been manifesting this, you know what I mean? It's kind of like we're doing the work, we're making it happen, you know, and spirit is meeting us halfway. They're turning up. So I feel as long as you're putting yourself out there, you're growing every time you get up there and you're stepping up there and you're learning something new, you're stretching yourself and that growth is an expansion is happening, you're always going to learn something from it. So what did you learn about the way you can change things, or did you get any lessons after these 4 days of traveling and being Spirit's puppet? How did you go, David? What have you got to take away?
So first I learned that because in my head I was like, how am I going to do it? Why did I agree to do four back to back?
Uh-huh.
But actually after that I learned that I can do it. I have
Yeah.
it's the first time I've done it. Um, that many in a row, but I think I proved to myself that I can do it, and I have got the energy to do all those four. I also learned the different ways of working because, and it pains me to say it, but in pretty much all of those dems, I went direct to many people that that were in the audience,
Ooh.
and it pains because I'm so stubborn about it because I if I do go direct to a person, I'm questioning myself in my head, was that going psychic? Because it's just a thing I have. It's just, no, just one of those
Gotta let it
little
go. But
things.
you
Yeah.
gotta, but like Hannah said, you're already throwing it out there psychically. You're looking.
Yes, but I don't necessarily agree with that though. That's just
Mm.
because for me, if you are, the way I look at it is if I'm drawn to a person, as we all say, when you're drawn to someone's energy, that is psychic. And I don't want to go to a person and almost choose them as the one that deserves that message. That's why I look
No.
at it. So I always
Yeah.
go with the spirit coming to my head first, and then I will go to a person once spirit give me the evidence, and I will say who can take it because I want spirit to choose their person. I don't want to
Yes.
be the one to choose to choose the person. That's just not how I work. But this weekend, um, for a couple. I think it's definitely the Thursday and the Friday. I can't remember about the Saturday. Um, Thursday and Friday, I definitely had looked at a person, and I just felt drawn there. I felt I had to go there, but I was. You get in your head in that moment, you're almost like resisting it. You think, I don't fucking want to work this fucking
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. But do you know
um,
why?
but it
Do you know why?
worked. Why?
Because it's a smaller group. That's why.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe because
It
it was a
is.
smaller group that
It
I
is.
and the first one I went direct 4.5 times out of six. So, but I
Because you
felt I
don't
just
want
don't.
to be, because you let, if you had that smaller group, this is the way kind of I'm just kind of understanding it. That smaller group, you can just let spirit pick. Well, what if that spirit person, like with me, I had one person grab three messages. Oh yeah, I can take that one. I can take that one. I can take that one. So you kind of need to take control sometimes. So everybody gets a turn. For
Yeah,
my 11 people, I wanted to make sure everyone got it. So I brought through probably I think I brought through naturally all of them bar two. That's when I kind of went direct because I thought, okay, I'm coming to the end. I want to finish off
yeah,
with these two people. Um, I'm going to go direct there. So otherwise, I'm just going to keep picking up the uncle and the auntie for such and such over here. And then that's how I felt like I just wanted to
yeah.
finish it off direct so that everyone got a message.
And but that's a choice, and that this is my thoughts on it. I won't be pressured into giving everyone a message, and I think on the one on Friday that I did, there were only 13 people, and And I wasn't, my intention was not to read for everybody, and I didn't, because I feel that, and it's not to do with you, but I've seen it with other mediums do it, is that they want to get around everybody, and there's 20 people in the room, and I've seen it online where someone, another medium has done it. With that particular thing that I saw, there was there was no validation. All this medium did, and I was part of the person who received the message, just talked at you. There was no, can you understand this? Can you understand? There was no validation. It was just da 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 da, next one, da 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 da, next one, da da da
Oh
da.
no.
So to everybody watching, that looks amazing, like she's given all this evidence. I'm still none the wiser as to who she had for me, because she didn't ask me
Yeah.
for validation, didn't ask me if I understood. She just talked at me. And then as you look around the readings, they're all wishy-washy, watered down readings. I don't want to do that, because that's not my
No.
job isn't to give wishy-washy, watered down readings. I don't see the value in doing that. And so the one on Friday, um, I went straight through without a break, which is another story. But and I think I've read nine out of 13 people, which I don't think is bad anyway. 8 or 9 out of 13 people. Um, but my plan was not to read for everybody. It's a demonstration of mediumship. If you want a private
Mm.
reading, book a private reading. And I think that's what I was speaking about earlier on, is about the pressure you put on yourself to do that. As
Yeah.
lovely as your intentions were to do that, you don't have to do it. Just because people have paid, if they understand that it's a demonstration, they should have the understanding that not everybody is going to get a message. Because the point of demonstrating is, one, is to demonstrate what you can do, but also for people just to sit in their energy and just to watch other people receive their messages and take something from that. Because I don't know about you, Glenda, when I go and see a medium, I don't go for the purposes of getting a reading.
I never
I
do.
go I go for the purpose of watching things happen, being in the atmosphere, watching other people, watching their connections. And that's why I started this in
Yeah.
the first place, because I would watch mediums on TV or in theatres, not going to get a message, but just to see what they can do, look at the magic that's created. And so that for me is the point of it. So when it comes to the
Exactly.
pressure, I wasn't going to allow myself to be pressured to give everybody a reading, because again, that's not my intention. Because sometimes, in my opinion, some people just, not they can't be read, but some people are just difficult, or you just don't get anything from them. And I'm not going to pull spirit out my arse to make something up to make them feel better because they're sat there. That's not the point. If they really want a
Yeah.
reading, they really want that connection, come to a reading, but don't sit there with a face like a smacked ass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
But I don't
I,
think the people that don't have this sort of thing or are into this sort of thing understand that. The people that came to my event, I think I'd connected to maybe three or four of them before. The rest of them were all new to this sort of stuff. So again, they don't understand how it works. And I think they I think they expect a reading or something like that. But I always make sure that I
yeah,
say,
I always, at the beginning,
I
always
might
do, I
not
always do a
give
speech.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say, just coming back to what you said about you don't want the same person grabbing the same messages. Now, look, let's
Yeah.
face it, there are people out there we call grabbers who,
Yes, there
whatever you
is.
say, they can take everything that you give, right? However, that can happen. And that happened on Saturday when I did the dem with another medium I've not worked with before, where the lady, he gave a message to a lady at the front, and it was her grandmother, I think, if I remember correctly. And then a few more messages between, and I came out and I was bringing another lady through, and it was the mother of the same lady that had had the grandmother before. Now, because I allow spirit to do the work, I'm not going to turn that spirit person away and not give her that message. And I did say that because she was hesitant to put her hand up. Now she's a medium herself as well, right? So she knows how it works. But she was hesitant to put her hand up because she didn't want to take the message. But I said, look, I'm not in control of this. Spirit are in control. If you've already had a message, but another one of your loved ones wants to come through, then I let them. Because if I say to your poor mum, oh, sorry, she's already had a message, it's saying to her, well, she ain't good enough to have another message, she's already had one. and then I'm then turning that spirit person away. I feel that's bloody rude to spirit and disrespectful to spirit.
Yeah.
And so sometimes some people will get two messages. Yes, we have to be aware of the grabbers, but that's up to us to control it and feel into the energy. If we don't feel it's for that person, we don't go there. And I certainly don't. I don't make it up. Um,
Absolutely.
and so it's like last night, a lady at the back had a message from her husband, and then a few messages later, had another lady come through, described her how she looked, and I even gave a name because I had a shout in my head. A lady at the front to the left of me put her hand up saying, um, my nan, da 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 da, but she's not small, she described her. And the lady at the back said, I think that's my nan. So I said to the lady who already had the message, so I said to the lady to the side of me, well, I don't know if I can give it to you because I'm not seeing a bigger lady, I'm seeing a small lady. As I'm seeing, she went, my nan was bigger. So that doesn't feel right to me. But the lady at the back who had the message from her husband, that was her nan. Now I wasn't going to say to her nan, sorry, she's had a message from her husband already. Don't you dare come through. Let me try and fit it with this lady. Absolutely not. If
Yeah.
it doesn't fit that lady, it doesn't fit the lady. So I went back to that woman who had a message from her husband earlier on in the evening, and gave her the information from her nan. So we have to remember that as well, is that sometimes spirit might come in twice for one person, but I see that as because that person obviously needs to hear that. That lady obviously wants to get through because that woman was going through a tough time losing her husband not too long ago, being the
Yeah.
anniversary of his death 2 days before. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to turn that spirit person away and say, oh, sorry, she's had a message already, you can't give another one. Who the hell am I to
Exactly.
say that? So we have to remember that as well. I know mediums out there will have a different opinion, but I don't care because that's my experience of it. We can't just turn a spirit away because we think,
No,
oh God, I can't give them another message. Of course you bloody can.
I
It's
did.
not.
I gave, I
Yeah.
think one lady got two or three connections. You know what I mean? I gave extra, and just because I'd given one already, just I'm not going to say no. Oh, well, your uncle stepped forward now, and oh, and here's such and such a step forward. I'm not going to say no. But again, I kind of have to take a step back and just go, holy shit, I did it. I don't know. I'm kind of like going, I did it. I don't know
I
how
th
I got through and I did it, but it still flowed, it still went well, like um and that brings me to go, David, how do you feel afterwards? Because holy shit, I'm on a high after it, but the next day I was really emotional. Do you get any of those sort of feelings after DEMS?
no.
Like you're really high? Really?
No,
Oh,
no.
get out.
I'm
You're not really high?
I'm joking.
I'm always high.
Yeah, no, after Dem, I feel no. There's been a lots of times where I've gone to a Dem feeling completely exhausted, and in my head in the car on the way there, I say to myself, "How am I going to do this evening? I've got
Yeah,
no energy. I just feel absolutely zonked." And the Dem goes really, really well. And afterwards, I feel less tired than I was when I when I was on the way there. So I do get that buzz of energy, and even if I've had you're on that point where you feel like you're coming down with a cold or something. I've had that
yeah,
this whole weekend before each dem that I've done. So obviously I've dosed myself up on vitamin C and everything else, and I've done the dem. I felt great doing the dem, and afterwards I felt better, and then the cycle repeats. So I think for me, I think because of the I guess the healing that we receive
mm,
whilst doing the demonstrations, I think we get a little bit of an energy boost at the same time. And that's how I feel
yeah,
afterwards. So when I come home from a dem, I can't go home and go straight to bed. I'm
away.
saying my normal job anyway. I can't when I come home, I'm a bit wired. So I've got to come home, have a cup of tea, and maybe something to eat if I need like a little snack thing, protein thing.
Yeah,
I watch something on TV, then I go to bed. So that's kind of you also have that kind of come down afterwards because you are still quite elevated. I feel. Um, but as for feeling emotional afterwards, no, I don't. And it's not to sound harsh. It's just how I'm just wired as a person. I'm not really an emotional person. I don't think
yeah,
in that sense. And so, because I feel for me, I'm very good at s- separating
mhm,
the job side of it to my personal side of it. So even if I've had a
Yeah.
night full of emotional readings, um, it doesn't affect me because in my head, I think I can't be affected by it because it's not my
No,
family. I can't cry about it because it's not my family. I'd feel a bit of a hypocrite.
I
Um,
feel you kind of feel
I feel
disconnect.
bad
Yeah. And
that if I was
I
to
feel
whinge
like
about it.
because my son said to me, Mum, how did you get through all those messages? Because they were really heavy. And I was telling him about it. And I said, I think you just get like a little, you just have to disconnect it to get through it. I
Yeah,
feel like I have to disconnect to not let the emotions take over. But it, it's like one-to-ones every now and then I'll get a little bit teary depending on how heavy the emotion is coming through from the spirit person, not from the person here in front of me. It's when I get the emotional off the spirit person. But
yeah,
I think I almost become like I've got a wall up. I just don't let the emotions come in because I've got a job to do. Like I don't let it affect me when I'm doing the demonstrations or giving the messages. And I didn't get emotional or anything the first time, but I think because there was a lady there that got so upset because
yeah.
her friend was just about to pass away and the message that I'd given her, I think it hit home for me because I just recently, lost my papa and my mum, and I think it just brought up that little bit of raw emotions
No, of
because
course, yeah,
I what I was giving her, I think hit a little nerve for me in a way, kind of going, oh my God, I just went through that exact thing that she's sitting there beside their
yeah.
bed, doing all the things that, I was doing as well. And I think that's why I got a little bit emotional. But other than that, I'm like, okay, I had about 5 margaritas after it to kind of come down, but
I have spirits to get over the spirits. Uh,
spirits, that's right.
That's it. No, I think that's normal though. You know, as a human, we are going to be affected by those things. Of course we are, and it's not to sound harsh when we say that we disconnect. But you said the same thing about a doctor or a grief counselor. A grief counselor is not going to sit there whinging with you, right? They have to have a disconnect to it as well because by I don't know if disconnect's the right word, but I'm using it because I can't think of another one. But you
Yeah.
have to have that kind of separation because to do your job
Yeah.
effectively, it's like having nerves. If you're really, as I said, if you're really nervous, it's going to block you. Also, if you're really feeling the emotions, that can also be a blocker as well. And so, for us to give across a message in a coherent, concise,
Professional.
but clear way,
Yeah.
and to deliver the emotion of the message, we have to be a clear channel to give that across. It does not mean we don't care. Of course we do, otherwise we wouldn't be doing the job in the first place. We have to find another way of putting it across because I'm also aware I don't want to upset the person. And we know it's like when someone sees another person cry, that can set a person off, right? Depending on their
Oh,
character and personality. So
yeah.
if I'm up on a platform whinging, crying, that's gonna upset people. That's not going to be conducive to a lovely, uplifting evening of mediumship. So, but again, for me as a person, the only thing I would whinge at is long lost family or what on TV. But apart from that, I'm not really a crier. But that's just me. But that's just me. That's not to say that that anyone that does do that is wrong. It's not. It's just as humans, we are different. We operate in
Yeah.
certain ways, and that's just as we are as humans. Like even like last night, I had that lady who I brought her husband through. I could feel the love he had for her, but
Yeah.
I said to her, I can't quite express the love and how to give it across. But she understood what I was saying because I
Mm.
used the word it like it was palpable, and I don't tend to use that words. But I wasn't going, "Oh my God, he loves you so much." That's not me as a person. Um, but I had to get it across in another way in which she understood, and so yeah, I'm just not. I was just again, I think I was always aware from the very beginning of my development that this is what we're here to help people, and we need to be that clear channel. So we have to have a slight, not distance from it. Again, that's the wrong word, but just to separate ourselves, to get the
Yeah.
emotion to step back, because we had someone in our development group who would be on platform, do an open platform, crying, giving a message, and we are looking at each
It's
other like, oh.
It's unprofessional.
It's a little bit awkward. I think I would say that, but because he was crying, he couldn't get the message out, so he was stood there for 10 minutes, maybe saying 4 words. And look, I'm not like I'm here judging him. It sounds like I am, but no, it's just to kind of express the importance of not doing that because you've got someone that's come to see you, whether it be personally or in a dem environment, who's there to receive a contact. But look, I think though,
Yeah,
if you agree, Glenda, it can also depend on the situation. So if you've got a person sat in front of you in a private setting,
yeah,
as you said before, that can be very different because you haven't got a load of
yeah,
people kind of looking in at what you're doing and all that pressure of, oh my God, I can't sit here and cry because I've got other people in this audience looking at me. In a one-to-one, it can be different. You can get a little bit
yeah.
more in
Oh,
depth, can't you? Anyway,
I,
so
oh, I have.
that's a different ball game, that bit.
I've wiped tears away. I've felt exactly what what they felt, especially when it comes to children, and when I'm a mum, so when I feel that, it's kind of like, oh, it just really kicks you in the
Yeah, of
guts,
course.
like
Yeah,
it can be so emotional. And hey, again, wipe your tear away, get on with it. I think that you're there to offer a service, not to be sobby. So
yeah,
you just have to be professional and be able to do that. You don't go to a doctor and they're telling you you've got cancer and they're sitting there crying with you. It's unprofessional.
no, that's it.
They're there to hold the space for you
Yeah,
to be vulnerable and to get you to heal, not to
yeah.
impact on your healing. You know what I mean? So, um, but yeah, a lot of lessons. I think, like you said to me at the beginning before we started, every dem is going to be different. Every situation when you come to it is going to be different, and it's all part of learning, isn't it? So,
Absolutely,
yeah,
and that's a positive thing because as I said at the beginning, no two dems will be the same. And what was said to me a couple of times is that a particular lady is watching, I think the lady on the Friday, I've worked for her before in another place down south. Um, she said the microphone to the audience. David did 8 messages and not a single, not or 8 links. It said not a single link was the same.
yeah,
And that's the thing is that every and this will be another could be another topic we talk about in the podcast is about the evidence that we give and how we give it is that if you're not working from a script, which we don't,
mhm,
each link is going to be personal. It's going to be different
mhm,
because you're not working from that tick list of I must get a name, a relationship, cause of death, a date, an age, this, that, and the other. That's not how we work. And they should be different because you're working with like you work with 11 different spirit people. They're
yeah,
all going to have different characters. Well, they have similar characters, I suppose, in some of them, but they've got their own personalities, their own memories, their own this, that, and the other. So they're all those individual links will be different, but at the same time, every dem that you do will also be different because you're working with different people. So I
mhm,
would expect that I would never want to go to a dem and see a mess the same messages given in the same way for every single link. Because to me, that is robotic and it doesn't come across as personal to me. And so I would expect to go and so if I go every time I go and see a medium, I want to see something different. I'd want to see them do a different, give different evidence and bring things through differently. So they're not going to be the same. They shouldn't be the same. They should all be different.
exactly. And I was actually watching a dem the other night, and the medium gave 6 different things, different evidence to connect to that person. And 6 times she said, no, 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 no. I think I would have moved on to the next person because you're not with that person. She was going direct. Doesn't
No.
work. Doesn't
Just
always
see,
work.
it doesn't always work. That's why I'm so
She was
indignant
trying to
about
make
the way
it,
I
uh,
work. Yeah.
she was trying to make it fit and it just wouldn't fit. It wouldn't
Yeah.
fit. And I'm thinking, you're
See,
not even with her.
you don't make it fit.
So,
That's what we don't do in Dems. We don't make things fit. And I said that lady last night with her nan. I said, look, either it fits or it doesn't, because I'm not seeing your nan as the big person you want her to look like. said, I'm not seeing that person. I'm seeing a very slim person. So I knew I wasn't with her. And I had to go to
Mm.
that other person who already had a message because, again, I said, I don't make it fit. And I said in the dem again the weekend, I said, look, my darling, because I gave a woman something. She went, I think it's this person, but I need a bit more. And I'd given something really specific. Can't remember what it was. And I said, well, what more do you need? And I said it like that, and everyone laughed, and she laughed as well. And I said, look, love, we're mediums, not magicians. So you take the evidence or you don't. But I know I've got specific evidence. And she took it, and she knew exactly who it was. But it turns out
Yeah.
it was her first time ever going to something like that. So,
Yeah.
be mindful of that, I suppose, more in more
Yeah. And
detail. But
I think I said at least 4 to 5 times when they said no to me, I need you to think about that again because I was so, when you've just got it from spirit and I just trust that it is 100% right. And, the woman's going, no, 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 no. And I'm like, are you sure? And then I'm going to spirit, okay, bring it around in a different way so she can understand it. Oh, yeah, oh, I get that. But when it's 100% right, you just know. Um, and I think I've got through those years of just like, no, when I know it's right, I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it to make it
mhm.
fit or for them to understand it. It's either a yes or no, can you take it? No, no in between. But yeah, it's very interesting some of the things that came through. I think it blew my mind with some of the evidence. I still kind of go, oh wow. I keep
I
sitting going,
know.
oh wow, oh
Yeah.
wow.
Like last
But you
night.
know what?
Come.
Didn't get one name, not one name, not
Oh, did you not?
interested. No, didn't even bother trying. I just said straight up, don't ask me to bring through a name because I'm not about names, but I will describe what your spirit person looks like. I will describe them. Hair this side, short, I can describe who I am seeing.
Yeah.
Forget the names. And I think that I'd rather that, like I said before, I would rather kind of know what their look, who that person is than
Mm.
because it gives everybody in that room a visual. They don't know what Tom looks like or Barry looks like, but if I start describing Tom was a shorter man, had a bit of a belly on him, parted his hair to the side, had grey hair, blah, blah, blah. That, I don't know, I'm a visual person. Maybe that's why I keep kind of trying to justify it to myself while I'm not getting names.
But I would say, look, you get what you get, and I think that's what I've definitely learned this weekend as well. Is that if I just let it flow, let
Mm.
let them come in how they want to come in, give me what they want, and I'm open to everything. So I'm trying to manifest. I really hate that word, but I'm trying to just to manifest anything that wants to come through. I mean, last night I don't normally get places because as you know, my sense of direction is shocking, and so is my geography.
Mhm.
But if not, I got the name of a pub that this person would frequent in the area, and I don't live in the area.
Wow,
But
well
I got
done.
that, but because I was open to it, because I'm now trying to say to spirit, I can't get that, I can't get that. I'm just saying, right, whatever you want to give me, give it. And I mean, last
Yeah.
night I spoke Bulgarian. I barely speak fucking English, but I got the name that the lady's husband would call his grandmother, who had passed 2 weeks after he died. So in Bulgarian. So so it's important that we try and keep open. So Glenda,
Yeah.
what I'd like you to do is this
Just
this
keep open.
this is the task
I
for you,
just, I'm
and
just
give your
like, I just
homework.
go with whatever comes through. I'm not
Yeah.
overthinking it. I'm not searching for it. I'm not asking for it. I'm just like, you know what? Whatever you want to give me, you give it to me because I'm sure that's what they will understand. Going to that woman and saying, your husband knows that that necklace is about him. You've got that made for him. And when she turned around and said, yes, he's got his ashes in it, then I added the comment of what he said about that. That meant more than going, I got your husband, Johnny, here. I've
Mm,
got your husband. I
yeah.
don't care about the Johnny or whatever his name is. I've got your husband here. I would prefer, I've got a male energy stepping forward. No, I've got your husband here. I've got your brother here. I've got your dad here. That's what I prefer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I'm working. And I'm just like, I'm open to spirit stretching me more. And I felt like I was stretched again.
I definitely
So,
was as well this weekend. Yeah. So it's
yeah.
to anyone listening that's developing, don't put restrictions on yourself.
No.
As soon as you put restrictions on yourself, that's when you stop receiving information, then you stop growing, you stop stretching it. Because I said to myself, I said to my other half as well, I said, this weekend has proved to me that, and we know this anyway, that we constantly change. We constantly, that mediumship this weekend was not, my mediumship now is not the same as it was 2 years ago or even last year. It will always change, and it'll
Yeah.
always change if we're open to working in new ways. We're open to receiving whatever evidence they want to give me. I mean, for me, I've got to stop saying to myself, I don't get causes of death. Because if I keep saying to myself, I don't get the cause of death with these people, I'm never going to get it because I put that restriction on straight away. Same with you with names. Oh, I never get names. We keep saying that, no, you're never going to get them. But if we say, right, I'm open to receiving that, it might start coming through. So
I
it's
I
about
get
not,
them.
yeah,
I get them. I just don't get them for every person. Like I watched a dem. I think I've sent that link to you. I can't remember who it was. She started off with the name, I've got Harry here. He's here for his daughter. Wow, I think that's fantastic. You know what I mean? I thought, holy shit, this woman's awesome. And she was really good with the evidence. Maybe I'll get there one day. I don't get it
mate,
for every reading.
no,
And I don't care. I don't
yeah,
care because at the end of the day, I've got nothing to prove to anyone.
mm,
I've got nothing to prove to anyone except for that person standing there that I've got to prove that that's the evidence that I'm bringing through that you understand that is your dad. That is your dad that I'm bringing through. Do you understand
yeah,
that he did this for a job? Do you understand he did this? He passed from this and this? Yes, that is my dad. Well, I don't care if I don't get the name.
name, yeah, no,
So
it's true, it's true,
I think I see so many people, even the people that are stepping up now, mediums that are stepping into this and learning and that, they put so much pressure on them because they want to be like another medium. Hey, we're all unique. We're all going to work differently. Just accept the way that you work and
absolutely,
up your game. Don't worry about anyone else. Stay in your own lane. Worry about how you're showing up. And that's all that matters. Who gives a shit about how Johnny down the road and Susie that's out on stage is going? Like, who cares? Like, just focus on what you're doing. And if someone's
absolutely,
putting you down, if someone's having a go at you, if they're directly having a go at you, well, have a go back. But if it's all gossip, stay away from it. Yeah. I just
yeah,
kind of think that the world is so negative. Don't put more negative energy on yourself.
yeah,
Just try and
yeah,
be positive about how you're showing up authentically. You're genuine, you're coming from the right intentions, and spirit will do the rest.
absolutely. And I think that's a lovely way to end the episode. So,
Yeah.
Glenda, let's wrap it up there, shall we? So, hopefully, people have enjoyed earwigging in on our little chat here. Hopefully, people might take something from it. But I think, I guess, it's about really reflecting. And I think a lot of time when you're doing this work, we just go, 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 that we don't necessarily sit and reflect on those things. But I think after the weekend that we've both had individually, I think it's important that we do actually reflect on it. And I've started writing notes actually about different things that I experience, and I think it's important. So because that allows us to keep ourselves in check, but also it allows us to go, okay, what's next? How can I improve on that new thing that's just happened? Rather than go, oh, experience a new thing. Okay, I have, but how can I make that better? How can I keep
Yeah.
doing that? So reflection is self-reflection is quite important. I feel especially in this work. But I'm going to stop rabbiting on now. So Glenda, thank you as always.
Thanks, David, and thanks everyone for listening and continuing to listen. We've had some really amazing downloads, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully we'll see you all again soon in the Spirit Lounge.
Thank you so much for joining us in the Spirit Lounge today. We hope you enjoyed the discussion.
Yes, and if there's a spiritual topic you'd like us to discuss, or if there's a spiritual question you'd like our input into, then please send those topics and questions to us at glenda-marie1@hotmail.com, and we will get to them as soon as possible.
Lastly, if you could like and share this podcast, as well as leaving us a comment or review about what you thought, then that would really help us out and we'd be very grateful.
We would indeed. but it's bye from me.
And it's bye from me.
Join us again soon in the Spirit Lounge.